Breaking news. Well, 40 minutes ago, listener Alex, who also runs my YouTube clip channel, Casey, the host clips, you can subscribe to that channel also. But he runs it. I don't run that one. He just he has this horrible screenshot of me with a goofy smile on my face. And then he does clips of the show, which are fantastic. So you should follow that because he's better at getting the clips than I am. He let me know. He's like, did you see the latest FISA update? I'm like, no, I didn't. So I went looking, and son of a gun, if yours truly wasn't right again. Well, I shouldn't. I was right before, but basically the FISA court has reiterated a point that I had made. Okay. In April 2017, the FISA court admonished the FBI under James Comey for routinely and regularly breaking surveillance law and violating the civil rights of American citizens. Okay, this was on a routine running basis under James Comey, which is why when I did the segments on this in the past week or two, and then the one yesterday where James Comey's running around pretending that I'm so sorry, I was wrong. Was that yesterday? Was that yesterday, Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday? Yes, it was yesterday. James Comey running around and pretending that I was wrong about the whole FISA thing, and if I were still director, we'd look at this and see if it was systemic. He knows darn well it's systemic because he's the guy that put it in place. When he was the director at the FBI, on a regular, running, routine basis, violated the civil rights of Americans with illegal surveillance. Okay? They did this, including violating attorney-client privilege. So this was happening. In April of 2017, the FISA court admonished the FBI, and the FISA court rulings are all classified. In May, the next month, the documents were declassified. So in May 2017, we learned that the FISA court admonished the FBI under James Comey for routinely violating American civil rights and violating surveillance law in the United States. So that, again, that's May of 2017 when we all learned about it. That's when I told you about it for the first time. That's when I posted about it for the first time. And I have been the only one since then reminding you of that fact, okay? Nobody else has. And it drives me bonkers. I mean, I love being the only one who's right. Don't get me wrong. But it makes me absolutely nuts that something that has been in the public domain for more than 2 years is sitting here and nobody is using it. Now, this is what just happened today. The FISA court has slammed the FBI over surveillance applications in a rare public order. This isn't a declassified document. This is a public issuance from the FISA court. In a rare public order Tuesday, the chief judge of the FISA court strongly criticized the FBI over its surveillance application process, giving the Bureau until January 10th to come up with solutions. It's in the wake of findings from the Justice Department's Inspector General Michael Horowitz, which Horowitz said, yeah, by the way, they're still violating everybody's rights. Now, remember, at that April 2017 hearing, the FBI had the acting director at the time promising that they would never do it again. Okay, we super promise. We're so sorry that this happened under the previous leadership. The FBI is under new leadership now. We will never do this again. And we found out a few weeks ago, the FBI has been doing it ever since. They've never stopped doing it. So when the FISA court comes out here, because some people are like, that's only January 10th. That's not very long to come up with a new procedure. But you have to understand something. The FISA court has been aware of these abuses by the FBI since 2017. So from the FISA court's perspective, the FISA court is sitting there with their mouths shut, because, again, it's a classified court going, hey, wait a minute. The FBI has been pulling this crap for years. We know that they're pulling it. They know that they're pulling it. They were supposed to fix it. They didn't fix it. We caught them again. They have less than a month to fix this thing or there's going to be some problems. Now, the order from the court's presiding judge, Rosemary Collyer, came just a week after the release of Horowitz's withering report about the wiretapping of former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page as part of a former special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Quote, the FBI's handling of the Carter Page applications as portrayed in the IG report was antithetical to the heightened duty of candor described above. Yeah. The frequency with which representations made by FBI personnel turned out to be unsupported or contradicted by information in their possession and with which they withheld information detrimental to their case calls into question whether information contained in other FBI applications is reliable. Now, again, I want to remind everybody that the FISA court already knows that information that the FBI has done for other warrants was unreliable. They already know that. They found that out in 2017. The FBI promised to fix it, and a few weeks ago we found out that they didn't. So the FISA court is rightfully ticked off. Now, a lot of you, myself, a bunch of people, since we learned officially through the document releases and the FOIA requests, mostly from Judicial Watch, but other organizations as well, when we learned that they knew that the dossier was garbage when they went in there, and yet that was the primary reason that that was the primary piece of evidence they used to get the warrant on Carter Page the first time, and subsequent times, by the way, when they re-upped for the application. When we knew that the FBI did that and had misled the FISA court, a lot of people said, why isn't the FISA court saying anything? And the only thing that I had was, well, it is a secret court. So maybe something is happening behind the scenes. I don't know. They are a secret court. They don't air their laundry publicly. This is extremely rare for them to publicly come out and do this. And I think that the only reason that they're coming out and doing this is because they've known that the FBI was abusing this authority going back to 2017 when they had that case in April, which those documents were only declassified the next month, which actually is a pretty quick process to get them declassified. So in April, they had that ruling against the FBI. They admonished James Comey and his leadership at the FBI for doing this. Now, James Comey, again, for his part, I have to remind you, it's only fair, he's running around and going, I had no idea that any of this was happening. I was wrong. I had too much faith in the process. That's not true. He's a liar because we know that he was warned. So here's the thing. If you're a James Comey defender, your best case scenario is the director of the FBI had no control of the agency and people running roughshod over him, and he was just sitting there going, do-do-do-do-do-do, because he's James Comey. That's your best case scenario. Your worst case scenario is he knew about all of it and he signed off on all of it and was okay with it. And since we know that a whistleblower who assumed that he didn't know went to him and said, hey, Director Comey, we've got a bunch of people abusing the FISA process here and illegally surveilling people. We've got to put a stop to this. This is wrong. And that whistleblower who went to Comey directly then filed a lawsuit against James Comey later because James Comey swept it all under the rug and hid it from everybody. So even if you think that James Comey is telling the truth now that he did not know what the agents in his organization were doing, we know that's not true because of the whistleblower. So I'm pleased that the FISA court has done this. Thank you, Alex, for the tip. I appreciate that. And publicly now, the FISA court, so they've done it privately in 2017, and now publicly in 2019, they've admonished the FBI for this process. Both times that admonishment comes under James Comey's control. We've got more coming up. 95.3 MNC.